Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to today's webinar, Safe and Test First Approach. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's webinar. We have taken a screenshot of an example of attendee interface. You should see something that looks like this on your own computer desktop in the upper right corner. You are listening in using your computer speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join with the phone, just select the phone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You will have the opportunity to submit the text questions to today's presenters by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the question and answer session at the end of today's presentation. I wanted to take a few minutes of your time and would like to introduce about Techwave before we move into the webinar. So Techwave is a globally trusted strategic partner that provides end-to-end IT services and solutions through co-innovation and thought leadership by leveraging industry's best practices. And we are headquartered in Exton, Pennsylvania, USA, and our agile and collaborative approach makes us a right-sized partner in the industry. We are ranked number 9 among fast-growing companies in the region by Philadelphia Business Journal, and number 15 in IT service domain in USA by Inc. 500. And we are also ISO certified company. And how we are different. We have long-standing clients and our client retention rate is 100% and we are very proud of it. And we recruit from leading engineering and business schools with a higher mix of experienced professionals. Domain knowledge is our focus. And we are now spread globally with a strong presence in North America, Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, and South Africa, helping more than 100 satisfied clients with our value-added services. We have a strong alliances with our leading software vendors to deliver most innovative and market-ready solutions. And we have also been featured in a lot of magazines like Forbes, Business Journals, Inc. 500, and so on and so forth. So here is the overview of our services. We provide end-to-end services and solutions in application development, APM, engineering services, infrastructure management, big data analytics, and so on and so forth. So today we will be covering a topic from validation services, safe and test first approach. So this webinar focused on the comprehensive approach to agile testing and testing first. And at the end of this webinar, we will be knowing how to adopt agile testing mindset, how testing works on agile teams, how to build the foundation of core agile practice, and transitioning to agile testing. So now I would like to introduce today's presenters. Today you will be hearing the presentation from Mr. Ankur Srivastava and Ashutosh Meher. So Ankur is a validation service practice leader at Techwave, and he is responsible for validation service practices, strategies and solutions focusing on clients in North America, Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. And Ashutosh Meher is principal architect in validation services at Techwave, and he oversees quality engineering architecture initiatives and is responsible for helping to transform our current deliverables through research, designing, sharing, and implementing emerging technologies and best practices in areas across the customer's value chain. And I am Priyanka Sandhui. I am marketing manager at Techwave, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Now I would like to hand it over to the speakers to introduce themselves and get started with the webinar. Ankur and Ashutosh, over to you.
Thank you, Priyanka. It's my pleasure to present over this webinar. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants for joining. Before we start, little about myself. I am Ankur Srivastava, heading validation services at Techwave. I have more than a decade-long experience in global consulting and program management, act as a technical advisor to clients, and helps them realize optimal return on investment on their long-term QA initiatives. At Techwave, work with marketing, strategic alliances, and partnership development teams to create compelling technology solutions. I have experience in defining quality strategy, planning, implementation, and spearheading quality initiatives at corporate level, and has previously worked with organizations like Microsoft, SAP Labs, and Logica CMG, and ensured client delight across geographies. At Techwave, we invest on validation services to become best validation partner, achieve higher ROI, faster time to market with utmost quality for our customers. As part of this webinar, we'll focus on the comprehensive approach to SAFe with respect to QA. This is scaled agile framework and is provided by a company called Scale Agile. And this framework helps to implement agile in enterprise level for large organizations. So before we go into the detail, I would like to introduce Ashutosh, who is a principal architect from Validation Services team. Over to you, Ashutosh.
Thank you, Ankur. So before I start, here is my brief introduction. I am Ashutosh Meher, having around 14 years of experience in managing quality, delivery, and automation for multiple business critical projects across organizations. I am having extensive experience in testing enterprise application solutions, business process, and B2B test automation, having good experience in practicing modern software engineering parameters like Lean Agile and CI/CD. At Techwave, as a principal architect in validation services, I oversee quality engineering architecture initiatives and responsible to provide solutions to customers through research, design, sharing, and implementing emerging technologies and the test best practices across to achieve customer value chain. Yeah. With this, we proceed on with today's agenda. So we'll discuss about SAFe introduction, like when SAFe comes into the picture. We'll see SAFe big picture, which is a different views of SAFe framework. We'll discuss about its core values, lean agile mindset, which is needed in each individual in the organization for the successful implementation of SAFe. We'll also see design driven development, which is like traditional way of software development and its challenges for test. And we'll see about test first approach and how test driven development can help any organizations and what are its benefits. Yeah, so first of all, why SAFe? As more and more companies are moving towards digitization, it becomes more important to understand how these companies provide values to their customers. This also gives rise to certain challenges like how to be ahead of the competitor or how to reduce time to market. These challenges are seen as an opportunity for the market leaders, and they find different ways and quickly get solutions to leverage this to their advantage. This is the new norm. To succeed in this digital adapt or die environment, enterprises must be able to rapidly change the way they create and deliver values to their customers. Their ability to do this is highly dependent on their nimbleness in developing software and systems. As those software becomes more and more complex, the method used to develop this software needs the changes like change in mindset, change in the work culture, embrace collaboration, innovation, and speed. Models like stage-gated or waterfall of the past have not scaled to meet up these challenges. So, a more responsive development method is needed to take on the demands of the modern technological and cultural landscape. Although Agile is a major step in this direction, it was typically meant for small teams, and by itself, it does not scale to the needs of larger enterprise. That's where SAFe comes into the picture. It applies the power of Agile and take it to the next level by leveraging the extensive knowledge of system thinking and lean product development. SAFe provides guidance for achieving the benefits of lean agile development at enterprise scale. It helps enterprise deliver value continuously and more efficiently on a regular schedule, thus making them more agile in the competition. Many of the large organizations in the world have already adopted SAFe, and the adoption rate is accelerating. It is important to understand the reasons why this approach works. SAFe is based on lean agile principle, and the core purpose is to help enterprises in building better systems, achieve better business outcomes, and provide better daily lives for the people who build these systems. As I said earlier, SAFe provides comprehensive guidance of scaling development work across all levels of an enterprise. SAFe's big picture provides a visual overview of this framework. So let's move to the big picture view. The big picture has two views. I'll start with the three-level view. So this is the default three-level view. This is well suited for solutions that require modest number of agile teams as well as smaller systems, products and services that are largely independent of each other. Coming to the four-level view, the four-level view supports building large integrated solutions that typically require hundreds or more practitioners to build and maintain. If you see in three-level or four-level view framework, it is divided into different layers. These are like team level, program level, value stream level, and portfolio level. And these are supported by foundation layer. Let's see each of these layers in brief. So, team level. SAFe is based fundamentally on agile teams. Each team is responsible for defining, building, and testing stories from their backlog. Teams deliver value in a series of fixed length iterations. We call it as sprints. Teams use common iteration cadence to synchronize work with other teams. This allows entire system to iterate simultaneously. Team employ Scrum primarily or Kanban methods. Each of these methods is supported by built-in quality practices. Many of the software quality practices are derived from extreme programming, whereas hardware and system quality practices are derived from lean product development practices. Let's see the program level view. So, safe teams are organized into virtual program structure. We call it as agile release train. So, in each agile release train is a long-lived self-organizing team of agile teams, typically of the size 5 to 12, along with other stakeholders that plan, commit, execute, inspect, and adapt together. So agile release trains are organized around the enterprise's significant value streams. They align team to a common mission, provide architectural and user experience guidance, facilitate flows, and provide continuous objective evidence of progress. Let's see the other level, that is value stream level. So this is the optional level. You will find it in 4-level view. This supports the development of large and complex solutions. These solutions require synchronization between multiple agile release trains, as well as a stronger focus on solution intent and solution context. Suppliers and additional stakeholders also play their role in this level. So value stream missions objectives are driven by pre and post program increment planning in the agile release trains. The last level is the portfolio level. At the portfolio level, organizes the fund a set of value streams. The value stream realizes a set of solutions which help the enterprise achieve its strategic mission. The portfolio level provides solution development funding via lean agile budgeting, any necessary governance, and coordination for larger development initiatives that affect multiple value streams. So let's move to the foundation layer, which is base of all the 4 layers to run their show. Foundation layer. So this layer holds various additional elements that supports development. Each element of the foundation layer includes first one, lean agile leaders. So these leaders are the lifelong learners and teachers who help team build better system through understanding and exhibiting the lean agile mindset and safe principles. Next element is communities of practice. These are groups of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and learn how to do it. Foundation layer is also based on safe core values, lean agile mindset, and safe principles. We'll cover safe core values and lean agile mindset later in this session. So, SAFE is improving business outcomes for companies of all size across the globe, resulting increase in employee engagement, improved economics, and workplace that are more productive, engaging, and fun. So this was the brief description about the SAFe framework and its different levels. So let's now move to its core values. SAFe core values are the guiding principles that dictate behavior and action. These values can help to know what is right from wrong, where to put the focus, and how to help team or company to determine if they are in the right path to fulfill their business goal. So first among the core value is alignment. So global alignment delivers more value than local optimization, meaning individuals on agile team values the team's iteration goals above their personal responsibilities and tasks. Similarly, teams on agile release train values the achievement of the vision and program objectives over their team objectives. Likewise, the agile release train value the achievement of value stream objectives over agile release train objectives, and value stream values their ability to contribute to portfolio business outcomes. Management is largely responsible for establishing the mission but does so with the minimum possible constraints. Next among the core values is built-in quality. SAFe's built-in quality practices helps every team understand and ensure that each solution element at every increment achieves appropriate quality standards throughout the development. To address the software quality in the phase of rapid change, software practitioners are using effective techniques which includes test first approach, which is like test driven development and acceptance test driven development, continuous integration, refactoring, pair programming, and collective ownership. The result of this practice is fast, continuous flow with a minimum of delay due to rework, high value delivery velocity, and the highest level of customer satisfaction. The next among the core value is transparency, and I would say this is one of the most important factor. Solution development is hard. Things can go wrong and do not work out as planned. Without transparency, facts are obscure and hard to come by. This results in decision based on speculative assumption and lack of data. To fix this, trust is needed in the team because without trust, no one can build high performance team. Trust exists with one party can confidently rely on another to act with integrity, particularly in the time of difficulty. Building trust takes time. Transparency is the enabler for trust, and SAFe helps an enterprise achieve transparency. Sharing progresses and facts openly across all levels is the key enabler for trust. Lean Agile leaders fosters trust and transparency by creating an environment of openness and friendliness. The last among the core value is program execution. SAFe places an intent focus on working system and resultant business outcome. History shows that while many enterprises start transformation with agile teams, they often become frustrated as even the team struggle to deliver large amount of solution values reliably and efficiently. That is the purpose of agile release train, and that is why SAFe focuses implementation initially at the program level. In turn, the ability of value stream to deliver value depend on the ability of agile release train. The ability of each agile release train to routinely and predictably deliver value will represent the successful implementation of SAFe. To this end, SAFe's program level provides extensive guidance to the roles and responsibilities to accomplish its key objectives. After SAFe core values, let's quickly go through the lean agile mindset. SAFe is based on number of newer patterns in modern system and software engineering, including lean and system thinking, product development flow, and agile development. At the team level, agile provides the tools needed to empower and engage teams to achieve unique level of productivity, quality, and engagement. A broader and deeper lean agile mindset is needed to support lean agile development. SAFe's House of Lean is used to describe number of fundamental lean concepts. The first one is value. The goal is the delivery of maximum value and quality to the customer in the shortest sustainable lead time. High employee morale, physical, intellectual, and emotional safety, and customer delight are further tangible targets and benefits. Value is supported by four pillars of the house. The first among them is respect for people and culture. Management challenges people to change and may recommend what to improve, but the team learns reflection and problem solving skills and make the appropriate improvements. Leaders understand the role that cultural plays and work to move the cultural forward in alignment with the new value systems and principles. Second pillar is flow. The key to successful execution in SAFe is establishing a continuous flow of work that supports incremental value delivery based on continuous feedback. Establishing a continuous flow of work is critical to fast value delivery. Emphasis is on avoiding the start-stop delay of project-based work, and a high value is placed on work visibility, long-lived teams, continuous knowledge acquisition and sharing, and it does achieve the built-in quality. The third pillar is innovation. So flow builds a solid foundation for the delivery of value, but without innovation, both product and process will stagnate. Innovation is critical part of SAFe, House of Lean. Innovation doesn't simply happen. The right environment is needed for this. Like get out of the office, go to the actual workplace where value is produced and products are created and being used. You have to provide time and space for people to be creative. Fourth pillar in the house of lean is relentless improvement. As enterprise improves through continuous reflection and relentless improvement, a constant sense of competitive danger drives the learning organization to aggressively pursue opportunities to improve and to respond quickly to challenges and opportunities. Leaders and team follow this. They optimize the organization and development process. They consider the facts carefully and act upon them quickly, and they apply lean tools and technique. The base of House of Lean is leadership. This is the foundation. Leaders are trained in this new and innovative way of thinking and personally exhibit these values and principles and behaviors. The other element of agile leadership is defined in the large part by Agile Manifesto. So all these four pillars are mapped one-on-one to these Agile Manifesto. Now, after briefing all about the SAFe principles, its core values, and the pillar of lean and agile mindset, let's take a step back and see how traditional we were doing software development. Whenever we get the requirement, we used to start thinking about design, start thinking like what kind of classes should we use, or which design pattern to use, or high level design, and so on and so forth. That was normal to do, and that is what termed as design driven development. Means first think about design, then write code, and then give build to the tester to test. With this approach, the major challenges that the tests were facing are testing was treated as a separate phase in this approach. Focus was always in design and code first and then think about testing. Test and development team are sitting separately in silos. Testing was generally seen as overhead and thus becomes the bottleneck. And many times either testing was not done or only done for the sake of doing it. If we see with respect to the automation in this approach, it was mostly done after the coding. Automation was mostly of the type UI automation. Automation scripts were written by testers. Developers used to write unit tests, but that too after the coding is complete. One of the driving factors to move from waterfall to agile methodology was to get frequent feedback from customers. And this is why we have reduced product delivery time from months to sprints, which is shorter in duration, roughly about 2 to 3 weeks, and with tangible output, which is good change of mind for the team and the organization. Nowadays, most of the organizations are practicing agile, but they are still following the same old sequence, meaning in the sprint of 2 to 3 weeks of duration, initial 3 to 4 days are used to design and then start coding. Build is given for testing only after code is completed, which eventually gives last week of a sprint for testing. With this, what has changed? We have only reduced the delivery duration from months to few weeks of a sprint. Now this approach has problem because first of all, in very last week, it's difficult to improve code quality. Other problem is we always run the application out of time and testing team keeps complaining that we are getting the code in very last minute and it became reality that we cut testing which create future issues and we call it as production bug. Let's see test first approach and how it can mitigate this problem. What test first approach talks about is don't design. Start from test. Write the test first, then code, and then design or refactor your code. Is it possible? Write the test before even having the real design in place? But yes, that is all the test first approach is. So let's start to think about how it is possible. Think why we need this. Traditionally, we saw testing was very last in any model. Agile is more focused on good engineering practices. We should have minimum hands-off between developers and testers. Barriers should reduce and test should perform every day and more towards prevention. So that is agile testing all about. Agile testing is a continuous process, not a one-time event. It is integral to lean and built-in quality. Simply, agile teams and agile release train cannot go fast without inbuilt quality. They can't achieve quality without continuous testing and whenever possible, test first. So benefits of using test first is it's a continuous process. It's not a phase. So testing is done every day. Test drives the development, meaning chance of missing requirement or catching the bug in the latter part of the development cycle is omitted. With this approach, whenever the bug is introduced, it has to be fixed in that very moment of the sprint. As we are testing every day and fixing bugs every day, the output of the product has built-in quality. Quality is in their DNA. And most importantly, we are delivering as per the customer requirement. If we see Agile testing matrix, which also gives importance to the test first approach, the horizontal axis describes about the business or technology facing tests. Business facing tests are understandable by the user and are described using business language. Technology facing tests are written in the language of developer. If we see vertical axis, it contains test evaluating internal code or evaluating the system against the user requirement. So basically this matrix is classified into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 contains unit and component tests. These are automated tests and run before and after code changes to confirm that the system works as intended. Automating their execution reduces the overhead of executing a large number of tests in different environments. Quarter 2 contains functional tests for user stories, features to validate that they work the way customer intended to. Features and capability level acceptance test validate the aggregate behavior of user stories. Team automate these test cases whenever possible and only use manual test when it's absolutely necessary. If we see the Q3, it contains system level acceptance test to validate the aggregate behavior of the system. These can include exploratory testing, user acceptance testing, scenario-based testing, and usability testing. These tests are often done manually because they involve users and testers using the system. These tests are used for final system validation and are required before delivery to the end user. If we see Q4, it contains system quality test to verify that the system meets its non-functional requirement. They are typically supported by a suite of automated testing tools such as load and performance test. These tests must run continuously or at least whenever it's practical to execute. When we talk about test-first development process, two things comes into the mind. One is acceptance test and another is test-driven development. Both these methods use test automation to support continuous integration, team velocity, and development effectiveness. Let's see something about test-driven development. The focus in this is on writing the unit test before writing the code. So, write the test first. Writing the test first ensures that the developer has understands the required behavior of the new code. Secondly, run the test and watch it fail. Because the code to test is not yet written, the test will fail. This accomplishes two useful objectives. Firstly, it tests the test itself and test hardness. And secondly, it illustrates how the system will fail if the code is incorrect. Now, the third step is write the minimum amount of code that is necessary to pass the test. If the test fails, then rework and test again until a module is created that passes the test each time. It means before my acceptance test pass, I already tested my application multiple times in unit test. So, in acceptance testing, we can confidently give demo to the customer or the product owner. In the process of making test green from red, you might have overloaded with lot of design principles. We need to clean and streamline the design. You might have used some instance variable, etc. But once it is working, now you think that how should I organize this well? And then you do the refactoring. Take your code to separate functions or classes. This cleaning and refactoring is design with respect to test-driven development. Similar to unit test, component testing is used to test the component of the system. These components are present in various architectural layers where they provide services needed by feature or other components. So, we can say that the test is the first set of eye that see the code and developer to refactor the code in order to pass the test. This is quality at source, one of the main reasons that SAFe relies on test-driven development. Let's talk something about acceptance test-driven development. If you see Q2 of the Agile testing matrix, it shows that the test first applies as well to testing stories, features, and capabilities as it does to unit testing. The goal is to have system work as intended, not only the code do as intended. This is called acceptance test driven development. This emphasizes on understanding requirements prior to the implementation. Team focuses on writing the acceptance test first. Whether it's viewed as a form of requirement expression or as a test, the understanding is that the result is same. The acceptance test serves as a written record made between the team and the product owner so that the team understands the specifics of the intended behavior of the user story. User story acceptance tests are functional tests intended to ensure that the implementation of each user story delivers the intended behavior. The testing is performed during a sprint, and if all the user story passes the acceptance testing criteria, then the incremental product satisfies the need of product owner or the customer. So here are the some of the characteristics of functional test. It is written in the language of business, developed in a conversation between the developer, tester, and product owner. It's a black box test that verifies the output of the system that meets the required condition. Implemented during the course of a sprint in which the story is implemented. In this scenario, generally the product owner or the customers are responsible for writing the business tests. Acceptance test can be automated using various test framework like robot framework or cucumber, etc. With this, our session comes to an end and we are ready to take some questions. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Yeah. So we are now going to begin answering the questions submitted during the today's presentation. So as a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. So Ashutosh and Ankur, here is your first question. So what are some of the key factors to keep in mind as an organization moves from waterfall to agile?
Okay, so first of all, the team must have executive support and leadership support for a scaled agile initiative. And secondly, it should be focused and incremental adoption approach. We need to have an expert guidance from someone who has expertise in scaled agile rollouts. And one of the important points, like we need to take care of change in the mindset of the people in the organization. and then the dedicated coaching support at the team and at the program levels, and a proper scaled agile rollout plan is needed to address process, people, and roles with the metrics and reward systems. So these are some of the key factors which we need to factor.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Ankur. I have other question from the attendee is that when SAFe comes into the picture.
So as we mentioned in the introduction slide, that with the fast-paced development, there is a demand for the organization how to reduce time to market for any product. And since with waterfall model, it's difficult to meet all the challenges, and also with agile, it's limited to small teams. So for larger organization, SAFe comes into picture to apply the power of agile in scaled model.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So we have other question on did you have any case study or any implementation exercise for SAFe?
Yes, we have successfully implemented SAFe model for our couple of clients based out in various regions across globe, and we help them to increase productivity by 20 to 30%, faster time to market by around 30%, and the production defects was reduced by around 20 to 25%.
Okay, perfect. And moving to the other question, what are the core values of SAFe?
So, as we have already discussed in this session, the core values of the SAFe are program execution, alignment, transparency, and code quality. These are the core values of SAFe.
Okay, okay. Other question is that can you suggest some guidelines for writing efficient test from test-driven development perspective?
Yeah. See, the first thing is each test should be able to run independently in isolation and in any order. And the test should cover all the pre and post conditions. Each test should concentrate on one business requirement. And pair programming is very effective in test-driven development approach. So these are some of the basic guidelines which we need to keep in mind.
Okay, okay. Ankur, I think we have already covered almost all the questions. We have a last question here. So I just would like to have a reminder for all the attendees. You can still submit these questions through your question pane in your attendee control panel. Going forward, I am just going to the last question, Ankur. We have 8 individual teams, but I could see them in 3 to 4 programs instead. Do you have any proven benefits of doing this?
Yes, we do have, because aligning individual Scrum teams with a single value stream, this allows you to ensure team level efforts are aligned around integrated feature which is going to be delivered to the customer. And this also ensures that the execution and strategy of your organization are aligned. So you are not only building things right, but building the right things.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I think we have come to the end of the session today. Thank you, Ankur, thank you, Ashutosh, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. So if you have any other questions, please contact us anytime. Ankur, can we have a display of the contact us details. Yeah, so you can contact us at the email address which is displayed right here, and once you leave today's webinar, you will receive the link of recording of today's webinar within 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of Techwave and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you all the participants for joining. Thank you all.
Thanks, Shankar.